It's another day to consume plastic, right? In this podcast, we'll be talking about, well, it's not my place to say, but I want you to know the people behind this podcast, since this wouldn't happen without them. Here we have Bhea, Bondalo, and How are you guys feeling? I guess that's an okay sign. Next would be Marah, Laurente, and Allanbai, Angas, plus Cedric Sabran. Have you guys prepared for this podcast?
Yeah. Just enough for this episode.
And we wouldn't be complete without the presence of Angas. Oh yeah, I'd like to introduce myself as well. I'm Denise, and welcome to
Talk Productions.
Now that you have met the crew, let us move to this podcast's main objective. What a beautiful day to reject
Plastics. What a lovely day to reject plastics.
I know, right?
But before we start our podcast, I just want to share with everyone, especially our audience, this quote I read earlier. Be a part of the solution, but not part of the pollution.
What's with the random quote, Bhea?
That quote ain't random. I share the quote with the audience as we are aware our city has been experiencing calamities and crises all around.
Ooh, yeah. And do you know why that is happening?
Based on what I've observed, one reason for this is our irresponsible behavior in using plastics.
I totally agree with your thoughts, Bea. If we talk about plastics, I believe there's a really good chance that their city impacts will also be a dog, right?
Correct.
Yeah, from what I have known, plastic waste, after all, has been a colossal talk nowadays because of many social and environmental impacts to the community.
I agree with you, Marah, but I have a question for you.
Yeah, what is it?
How would you describe plastic pollution or waste in 2 words?
My first word would be hazardous, and the second word would be toxic. That is my words.
And why is that, Marah? Out of millions of words to describe it, why did you choose hazardous and toxic?
Because we can see how the change in our environment affects us and cause us harm and contamination. Most critically, it put our lives and health at risk and could also impact our natural resources in the community and also affect the millions of families that were living in the community.
Do you guys think our country is affected with plastic pollution?
Yes, obviously. We can see the effect of plastic in our communities. Can't you see it, huh?
Duh, I was just asking, but yeah, I can say there are so many communities in the Philippines with inadequate trash management.
I'll admit, I was one of those people who had inadequate trash management discipline. But that was before, guys. Okay?
Yeah, whatever you say.
Also, I'd like to add that in Davao City, people with much garbage such as plastic waste, they consume and they produce, and after that, they just dump it in their trash without the proper waste segregation, like the plastic segregation, I mean.
Exactly. That is because plastics are everywhere. Honestly, they are slowly destroying our city.
Yeah, right. There are lots of adverse effects that plastic brings to our environment, such as polluted air, which is not good in our health. We must prevent it.
But I think if we don't take actions now, we will experience its consequences.
Yeah, and I also want to leave a quote, guys. It says, what comes around goes around.
Ooh, I like that. You have to send me a new quote again tomorrow. Now let's dig deeper and learn more about the details of plastic pollution from, again, Marah.
Okay, so guys, do you think that our audience has any idea of what we will be talking about?
I think they have a guess.
Yeah, you're probably thinking about the background of this social problem.
Well, our audience must be a smarties, right? That would be a quick guess. Who would have thought that this would be a plastic cup?
It was just an easy guess, Marah. If I were the audience, I'd guess plastic too. I'm just that smart.
Alright. By the way, guys, have you seen the pieces of trash there outside?
What precisely, Marah?
You know, the matter that doesn't degrade for a long time.
Oh yeah, I saw that outside while walking to school.
There were lots of them, right? Does it bother you?
Me, Jude, it bothers me.
Yeah, that is a significant factor in why our city isn't sustainable enough.
Oh, now that you're talking about sustainability, what makes the city sustainable? Like personally,
Personally, for me, cleanliness and guardianship of the city make the community sustainable. Its sustainability benefits the environment and the people. I believe a sustainable city makes the people happy, right?
Yeah.
Wait, I think ending plastic pollution will make the city sustainable.
Then how can you say so?
Okay, I'll reveal it now. This podcast will discuss the UN SDG, specifically SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities.
We will share with you guys the importance of it.
Not only the importance of it, but also the things that would happen if we won't protect the environment we're living in.
Exactly. According to the UN organization, SDG 11 aims to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe,
Resilient and sustainable.
Based on reports, the urban population is growing nowadays, which makes us alarmed regarding air and waste handling.
And that leads us to this topic, the causes and effects. Since we want to share the causes of plastic pollution and its effect to our beloved city. See, only a few of them know about this pollution, which is appalling because we are all starting to be deprived of quality air. They don't know what our air contains now since we all just breathe and go for a day.
Without them even knowing, it threatens their health and city's condition now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's scary.
I know, right? This is why we will delve into more details about it. And let us hear more about this from Ashley.
Hey Ash,
Tell us more about it.
Okay, since we're already on the topic of plastic pollution, I want to ask everyone, have you been to an event with so much waste, like the kind of scenario where the garbage cans are so full they're about to burst?
I think we have all been to such an occasion at one point in our lives. But for me, birthdays really come to mind.
yeah, I agree with you. Birthdays do really generate a lot of waste. Not just food waste, but also plastic waste. And as for Ashley's question, guys, my answer is school events like intramurals or some sort.
Yeah, I can totally relate to you, especially in my old school. But I believe they too are committing to banning single-use plastics, like our school now in Ateneo.
True. For me though, Ash, it's social gatherings.
Oh, social gatherings. Like which gatherings though?
Like political rallies.
I've actually been to one along with my friends.
So how was it?
It was fun. It was the first time I saw Moira in the flesh. But the environmental impacts of such gathering was so bad it was heartbreaking.
Environmental impacts, huh? I've never really thought about that. All I remember about political rallies is the hype surrounding the candidate. I guess there's really more than what meets the eye.
That is very much what I thought of a political rally before attending one. It was really disheartening for me because waste left by the attendees, especially single-use plastics, was scattered everywhere.
Wait, are the attendees not cleaning up for themselves?
That's also one thing that I'm sad about. Ironically, they're supporting a candidate who is campaigning for a better and cleaner future. Yet they cannot hold those truths to themselves.
Oh, that's sad. Life is indeed full of ironies.
I couldn't agree more. I really and truly hope Filipinos, as early as right now, finally have some sort of awakening to themselves that they also have a fair share of responsibility for the environment.
Yeah, correct.
True, especially here in around Davao. When you roam around our neighborhood in the city, you might have observed that there are a lot of light posts, and oftentimes there is this one light post where people choose to toss their garbage. I think it's safe to say that that one light post is typically the chosen one, right?
Yeah, chosen one. And I feel like one of the reasons why people throw their garbage on a street post could either be they're too lazy or their place lacks garbage cans to throw their trash.
Yeah.
And I think we can agree on this since we have done some of these practices too.
Yeah.
I mean, I can admit
Amen.
on it.
On a serious note, Ashley, these practices or doings could damage our precious surroundings when you think about it. The garbage is placed outside and contains many toxic harms that contribute to air pollution.
Yeah.
And alongside those toxic harms, decomposing garbages releases an unpleasant smell that could make it difficult to breathe. I mean, it It was really smelly.
I can feel you, sis. Street posts and garbages can attract pests such as rats and flies that carry diseases that are harmful to humans and could spread bacteria that could degrade our air quality. With these issues currently happening in our society, it is crucial that we take steps to properly dispose our waste and to keep our streets clean to ensure a healthy and safe environment for all residents.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I so agree with your statement, guys, but we should also keep in mind that no matter the impact, big or small, we should always do our best to maintain
Yes.
and keep our city clean because change starts within ourselves.
I agree. Also, some might say that pollution on the road is not a big deal, like pollution on street posts, in that it's just a road. But we must take note that not only does pollution affect us people, it also affects our environment, even if this place is a public space.
Yeah, I think that is what Cedric is implying. Like, for example, the flyover road in Davao City. It was very polluted because lots of people or a lot of people are irresponsible in dealing with their trash. And they tend to throw it anywhere when they have the chance, right? And this might sound like a little hypocritical since I sometimes do this whenever I'm really just tired or just lazy, but nowadays I tend to avoid doing this to help and keep our environment clean.
That is very good, Marah. And also, a lot of pollutants on the flyover also attracts rats and animals, which can lead to dangerous situations because stray dogs or cats on the road can cause accidents that may endanger the lives of both the people and the animals.
That's why we as citizens must take action to avoid these types of issues that are revolving in our community by being responsible and disciplined.
Yes.
Yeah, right. The government should also take its own action by implementing stricter rules about people causing pollution so that people will not pollute because of a new, heavier punishment.
You know how sad, cruel, and devastating, right? To feel like seeing our community, seeing Davao City specifically, is damaged and starting to change from its usual form.
Yeah, it makes me think about what will happen in the future if we continue to damage our environment.
It's scary, no? Because I also feel that too. Because we cannot take our actions seriously and responsibly. Because our world will change, which is irreversible.
It is hard to see that many families and communities are affected by plastic pollution, which is very dangerous in our lives.
I believe most of us would agree with that, right? Especially our audience. It is time to take action and raise awareness against plastic waste, against plastic pollution. We should start doing good and helpful things for the community we're living in, just like plastic waste segregation.
The change starts within us, right?
Yeah, the disciplinary action starts within us people.
But the problem here is we need to act immediately because people nowadays only have a little time to help
Yes.
achieve sustainability for the city and lack responsibility as humans. Do you get me?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. There are many small ways to save the community from the effects of plastic pollution, just like by doing proper segregation of plastics inside their homes, also disciplining oneself about throwing less consumption of plastics and using reusable things like glass, paper bags, cloth bags, etc. Name it.
Precisely. As community citizens, it is our responsibility to be concerned and aware of the circumstances in our environment. It is mine and your responsibility to clean our waste.
Yeah, and just like Athenians, like us, we must be the role models for our people in advocating and engaging everyone to be part of the change for the betterment of our nature and also the future of Davao City. You know, sui generis thing?
Also, I'd like to add something.
Yeah, what is it?
I recommend helping in cleaning our surroundings. In fact, we could apply the 5 R's for waste management like what we have learned in elementary. Reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, and residual control.
Exactly, you have a point.
Well, it is time to act, a time for change and decline overconsumption of
Plastics.
Oh yeah, before I forget about it, it could also be through joining and supporting organizations like whose main objective is to save the city and implementing ways such as giving out reusable things, reusable materials for households, doing a business that encourages people to switch to reusable such as glass containers for your homes, and also volunteering in any plastic talk program in your community.
See? What a few ideas we've got. Oops. The podcast duration is kind of getting longer. Let's start wrapping up. Denise and Allanbai.
I completely agree with you guys. The flow of plastic pollution in the environment must be stopped at the source through effective regulations requiring 100% plastic reduction and
Yes.
mandatory collection, so that those who are presently flooding the world with plastic are held accountable for ensuring it does not end up in our ecosystem.
Alright, to sum this up, I think we all can see how plastic pollution is destroying everyone's existence on Earth, right?
Yeah.
That's why we must take significant measures to prevent it. For example, instead of using plastic bags, we must utilize alternatives such as cloth and paper bags. We must repurpose the plastics we purchase. We must refrain from consuming bottled waters, which contribute significantly to plastic pollution.
And lastly, we should combat plastic pollution as early as now, guys, for a better world and a promising future.
And that concludes our podcast for today. Thank you so much for tuning in into our little program we've made. Once again, this is Marah, Denise, Laurente, along with the Trash Talk team. And always reminding you guys that it's always a beautiful day to reject plastics. Peace out!
Yay!